Shalom Chavrim, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. A lot of tension has been building up on the border of Israel and, of course, in Lebanon as well. The Druze are trying to break into Syria from Israel, according to the Israeli news. The Times of Israel is reporting. IDF brings them back. Said 10 Druze men were trying to cross over the border. And, of course, Israel is talking about going in to protect the little town there inside of Syria, in order to protect the Druze community that is living there. Now, the Druze community there is actually pro-Assad, the pro-Assad government, and they say historically they've always been pro whichever government is in power. It says in the Times of Israel, a number of Druze residents of the Israeli Golan Heights burst through the separation fence with Syria on Friday. Sorry about that. On Friday afternoon in order to reach the Druze village of Hadar, where a jihadist killed 9 people in a suicide bombing earlier in the day there. The army said the Israeli troops chased a group of approximately 10 Druze men who made it dozens of meters past the border fence, but of course they never got into the Israeli territory. So there is a lot of talk that Israel is talking about crossing over into Syria. I think it's more so because Israel is not happy with Russia negotiating out a 10-kilometer buffer zone between that Israel and Syria on the Golan border there to kind of keep the Iranian forces out of there. That's what it seems like to me is going on. Now, speaking of this, one of the issues there that has really kind of gotten my attention is also another, I lost an article I was going to share with you there, but also the issue with Miss Tzipi Livni, who was on RT News. Now, I brought this out to you guys a little while back, and I wanted to share this with you once again, this particular article here, where Ms. Livni is asked about why didn't Israel join Russia in helping to fight ISIS. And I spoke about this before, and I really wanted to take and share with you again what Ms. Livni says in response to this. Because I personally believe that Israel should have gotten involved in the Syrian conflict, not in that dealing with supporting al-Qaeda or al-Nusra or any of those that are fighting against President Bashar al-Assad, but I think that we should have gotten involved with Syria because, after all, the mothers of Israel, both Leah and Rachel, were Syrians to start with. And we made a covenant with Laban never to cross over to do him harm, or vice versa. He would never cross over to do us harm. Now, we do know historically it's never been kept. That promise has never been kept between Jacob or Israel and that of the Syrian, his father-in-law Laban. But I think it's high time that maybe we should treat our neighbor as ourselves. And we should have gotten involved to destroy ISIS. Now, many would say to me right now, well, Steve, Israel created ISIS. I believe that the ISIS was created by the U.S. under President Barack Obama, but also, no doubt, Israel has had their hand in this as well. I've had inside information from friends of mine in the military there that said that there were ISIS members seen wearing tzitzit. So that's always been troubling to me. So it comes back down to this here. We should have gotten involved. If we consider ISIS to be an enemy of Israel, Israel should have gotten involved with the Syrian government, with Russia, and defeated ISIS, and we would have never had such a major war in the region as we do today. But instead, it's been the other way around. I want you to, though, watch what Ms. Livni has to say when that question is asked to her.
Dealing with the situation of what Daesh is doing against all of us, because they would not compromise on our existence.
But how then would you explain Israel's position of neutrality in the Syrian conflict? If you're so willing to confront terrorist organizations, why didn't Israel jump on board, join Russia in Syria, and help exterminate the jihadi force there? Then the Iranian influence perhaps would have been somewhat curtailed.
I hope that you would not suggest that Israel would send our soldiers to fight in Syria as well. It would not happen, hopefully. And I hope that this is not your suggestion.
But how then? I mean...
Now, see, this is kind of troubling for me, that Ms. Livni is actually almost insulted by the very mention of Israeli soldiers fighting. But if ISIS is truly a terrorist organization that is a problem for Israel, then why wouldn't we want to help our neighbor to rid their country of this problem? But instead, what we ended up doing is we fell victim to that of the Obama and, of course, John Kerry regime there that wanted to, instead of toppling ISIS, was hoping that ISIS would actually overthrow President Bashar al-Assad instead. And in fact, when Assad was back in 2010 speaking about trying to declare Israel that their right to exist, and was trying to bring about peace with Israel, although Prime Minister Netanyahu was a little bit skeptical at the time, always been a very big concern for me that never went the way it should have. Also, in other news as well, Pentagon offers an assessment of what conflict would be with North Korea, what it would look like there. They have submitted that in writing to the Pentagon has offered this before Congress to let them know what it would look like. It is not going to be a pretty battle. And of course, a lot of things when they are being asked what will it be like if they use nuclear weapons, what would be our retaliation response. The U.S. says that they would do this in a closed-door session, privately, not open and publicly, which I understand that. That is something that you cannot necessarily do openly like that. We know that President Trump is in Japan today. He's already met with Mr. Abe, the president of Japan, or the prime minister of Japan there, and as well, before his arrival, U.S. flies the B-1B bombers over Korean Peninsula ahead of Donald Trump's visit there, once again letting Kim Jong-un know that there is a formidable force to be reckoned with if indeed a conflict were to arise, or if Kim Jong-un were to try to do any kind of crazy event while the president is in the region. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live, and yeah, I'm about out of air. Just did about an hour-long broadcast for World Harvest Television Network, which you guys will get to be seeing soon, a two-part series there. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun with Israeli News Live. Thank you, and those of you that have been helping with my wife's medical needs there, we do sincerely thank you from the bottom of our heart, because it will be what we have need of to be able to get her treated and hopefully to recover from this dreaded illness that she is facing. So I want to thank you personally for your love and your help in this matter, and those of you that are praying as well, both praying and financially, and those that are just able to pray. Your prayers we do covet greatly, and I thank you for that. From the depth of my heart, I really thank you. God bless you, and shalom.